You've probably heard the phrase, love is blind. True, but the reality is, a lot of men today aren't blind, they're pretending to be. They ignore the signs, accept excuses, swallow disrespect, and convince themselves they're giving love a chance. But let me tell you something uncomfortable and necessary: when a woman's behavior starts eroding your masculine value, it's only a matter of time before you fall. And no amount of weightlifting, expensive cologne, or talk about masculine energy is going to save you from it. Here's the hard truth few people will tell you. There are certain patterns that, if you fail to spot them early, will leave you lost, drained, and worse, disillusioned with love. We're not talking about minor flaws or normal differences. We're talking about real warning signs, red flags disguised as charm. And the more you ignore them, the further you drift from your masculine posture, your mission, your very essence as a man. In this video, we're going to break down these signs one by one. Signs no one talks about, but that quietly destroy relationships. And the best part, you'll learn how to shield yourself from them in a practical, no-nonsense way, without becoming cold or bitter. You'll become a more aware, stronger, and more selective man. Because in the end, what separates those who suffer from those who lead is their willingness to face the truth. Clinginess and excessive neediness. Ever notice how certain behaviors from a woman that might seem cute or affectionate at first actually mask a need for control? When a woman gets upset because you choose to spend time with your friends or visit your family, what's at play isn't love, it's domination. It might seem harmless in the beginning, but this kind of behavior usually escalates. And if a man doesn't stand firm from the start, his freedom quickly becomes a luxury. This has nothing to do with healthy masculinity. It's about sacrificing your masculine value to appease someone who doesn't respect your space. Over time, you'll stop doing the things you love, you'll feel the need to explain yourself even for trivial things, and without realizing it, you become an emotional hostage. That's when a man needs to remember who he is. Having a life outside your relationship, friends, hobbies, family, is part of your value as a man. If she has a problem with that, the issue isn't you, it's her insecurity. And listen, it is not your mission to fix someone who thrives on your lack of boundaries. Your mission is to preserve your essence, respectfully, but without backing down. A real man builds relationships based on freedom, not surveillance. And freedom doesn't mean recklessness, it means trust. A practical example? Set clear boundaries from the very beginning. Say, I love spending time with you, but I also need time with my friends and my family. The right woman will respect and admire that. The wrong one, she'll try to manipulate you with emotional blackmail. And when that happens, that's a red flag, and a clue that there may be more of them hiding beneath the surface. She treats people she sees as below her poorly. Some men get swept off their feet by how a woman treats them, affectionate, sweet, always smiling. But they fail to notice how she treats others, the waiter, the cashier, even her own family members. And that's one of the biggest dangers. A woman's behavior outside of your relationship speaks louder than words. If she disrespects people who can't fight back, it's only a matter of time before she disrespects the ones she loves. No masculine value can withstand being beside someone who shows contempt for others. This kind of woman often dresses well, speaks eloquently, but turns into someone else when the spotlight isn't on her or when things don't go her way. Her tone shifts, her patience vanishes, and arrogance takes over. And the man, blinded by the VIP treatment he received early on, ignores these signs. But here's the truth, a woman of true character treats everyone with respect, not just the people she's interested in. If she can't show basic respect for others, what makes you think she'll respect you once the honeymoon phase wears off? A great way to test this is to observe her in everyday situations. Take her to a casual restaurant, see how she behaves. Pay attention to how she talks about her parents or siblings, especially over small things. A man who values his masculinity must stay alert to these subtleties. Because at the end of the day, a woman who disrespects a stranger today might be demeaning you tomorrow. And when that happens, the damage is done, and worse. The next sign may show up disguised as excessive jealousy. Excessive jealousy. A little jealousy can actually show interest. But when it turns into an interrogation over a random female name in a casual story, or when she gives you the cold shoulder just because another woman liked your photo, now you've entered a different game. This type of behavior comes from a deep-rooted place, unresolved insecurity. And when a man gives in to it, thinking he's being understanding, what he's really doing is sacrificing his masculine frame. And that, my friend, is where the decline begins. Strong men don't walk on eggshells. But that's exactly what happens when you're with a woman who sees every other female as a threat. The relationship turns into a minefield. You're forced to filter your words, hide friendships, justify every glance. That's not connection, that's emotional prison disguised as care. Healthy masculinity doesn't coexist with constant distrust. She needs to trust who you are, not where you are or who you're talking to. Want a practical example? A mature woman feels secure when you have posture. You speak with confidence, set clear boundaries, and maintain transparency, without giving up your freedom. If she flips out because of this, the issue isn't you. It's what she's carrying inside. And here's the irony. These kinds of over-the-top reactions often go hand in hand with something just as dangerous: a complete lack of genuine gratitude. Lack of gratitude. There are men out there who pay for dinner, open car doors, solve problems, buy gifts, and get nothing but silence in return. Even a "thank you," no look of appreciation. At first, he brushes it off, thinking she's just distracted. But over time, that silence weighs heavily. When a woman doesn't value small acts of kindness, the relationship becomes unbalanced. Masculine value isn't just about giving, it's about being recognized for what you give: your love, time, energy, and presence. Lack of gratitude slowly chips away at a man. It's not about expecting a trophy every time you do something thoughtful. It's about observing whether there's mutual respect. Gratitude is a direct reflection of emotional maturity and of character. A woman who can't say "thank you" for a simple gesture today is likely the same woman who will demand more tomorrow without ever acknowledging your effort. And a man with posture sees this early on. He's not living for applause, but he won't settle for being invisible in the relationship. And here's the worst part: this type of woman often complains more than she appreciates. It's never enough, always wanting more, always dissatisfied. And this mindset usually walks hand in hand with another dangerous pattern: lack of personal purpose. Because when a woman has no goals or passions of her own, she tends to demand more from the man, more than he should ever be expected to give. And that's when the emotional bill starts to pile up. No goals or hobbies. At first, it might even seem sweet. She's always available, wants to spend all her time with you, seems committed to the relationship. But over time, this lack of personal goals and hobbies fully reveals itself. A woman who ignores her own personal growth will eventually suffocate her partner. And here's the crucial part: masculine value grows when a man walks beside a woman who also has a vision for the future, not someone who simply lives in his shadow. A woman with no clear objectives, who doesn't know what she wants, whose world revolves around shopping, reality shows, or social media, is unlikely to inspire you to grow. In fact, she'll begin leaning on you so heavily that any sign of independence on your part will feel like a threat. The relationship turns into codependency. And you, instead of being her partner, become her sole source of emotional direction. That's exhausting. Worse, it pulls a man off his own path. Masculinity has no place in someone else's comfort zone. Want to test this? Ask her how she sees herself in 5 years. Better yet, watch how she spends her free time. If the answer is nothing but waiting for you, or checking out online sales, that's a clear warning sign. A man building something great needs a woman with purpose. And when that purpose doesn't exist, other kinds of pressure appear, like the unrealistic expectation that you should be available every minute of the day. Unrealistic expectations around communication. Ever been in this situation? You're deep in work mode, focused, handling 100 things. Then suddenly, your phone blows up. 5, 10, 15 messages. And when you finally reply, here it comes: "Where did you disappear to?" That's not affection, it's poorly disguised neediness. And if a man lacks posture, he ends up trapped in a cycle of having to justify every minute he spends offline. It's exhausting. And little by little, your masculine value erodes under the constant guilt of simply living your life. A woman who truly understands the life of a man with value knows that silence speaks, too. She knows presence isn't measured in WhatsApp minutes. She trusts, she doesn't control. But the woman who demands instant replies, who gets upset if you don't send her an emoji every hour, she's looking for someone to live for her, not with her. That's not a partnership, that's emotional prison. And a man who honors his masculinity needs to spot this trap before it becomes the norm. A practical tip. Early on, be clear: you're present, but you also have responsibilities. Say something like, "If I take a while to reply, it's not because I'm not interested, it's because I'm focused on building something important." This quickly filters out the mature women from the ones craving constant attention. And don't be fooled, this excessive demand for communication often masks an even deeper issue, like the fact that she still talks way too much about her ex. Talks too much about her ex. When her ex becomes a regular character in your conversations, that's a flashing red light. Sometimes it's subtle, "Oh, my ex used to do that." Other times, it's a direct comparison. This behavior shows she's still emotionally tied to the past, no matter what she claims. And the man who ignores this, thinking it's just her venting, is allowing his own masculinity to become a crutch for wounds that aren't his to heal. That's not a partnership, it's therapy disguised as a relationship. Worse still is when she gets triggered by your past, all while being stuck in hers. She'll question, investigate, react poorly to names, old photos, or female friends. It's a clear imbalance, where only you are expected to prove you're clean. This kind of posture doesn't just show emotional immaturity, it reveals a controlling nature masked by jealousy. And a man with value must understand, it's not fair to pay for what another man caused. Want a quick test? Notice how she talks about her ex, as someone who has learned from the past, or as someone still emotionally attached to it. If there's bitterness, anger, or disguised longing, the truth is, that emotional door is still wide open. And whether you like it or not, you're just sitting on the couch in a house that still belongs to her past. And if that past is recent, the warning is even stronger, because you might not be the start of something new, you might just be the rebound. Just got out of a relationship. When she says she just got out of something, stop and observe. Don't rush in to fill that void, because it might be a void shaped by loneliness, not readiness for love. Women who jump into a new relationship without having processed the last one are usually running, not ready. And a man with posture understands that being emotionally available is not the same as being desperate. Masculine value is lost when you let yourself be the painkiller for wounds she hasn't even acknowledged yet. In these situations, she often seems too intense, too passionate, too present. It feels like a dream, but that's where the danger lies. Because when the honeymoon phase fades, her unresolved neediness comes rushing back. And everything she used to project onto her ex now lands squarely on you. The complaints, the comparisons, the demands, and you, who came in as her rescue, become part of the new problem. Relationships built on open wounds don't heal anyone, they only spread more pain. And a man who leads his own life doesn't jump onto a sinking ship just to have company. Here's a practical way to gauge this. Ask her what she learned from her last breakup. If the answer is filled with bitterness or victimhood, be careful. If she can't answer at all, double the caution. Because someone who hasn't processed what they've lived through is bound to repeat it. And this pattern usually comes with another concerning sign, the complete absence of real friendships, which says a lot about who you're dealing with. No long-term friendships. At first glance, it might even seem romantic. She only wants to be with me. But over time, this turns into isolation. When a woman has no close female friends, no healthy relationships, or constantly hops from one social group to another, something is off. This behavior reveals a deeper issue, an inability to build lasting connections. And more often than not, it masks a controlling nature. If she struggles to maintain healthy friendships with other women, what makes you think she'll handle your need for independence any better? Having solid female friendships is a sign of emotional balance. Women who nurture good relationships show they can compromise, listen, and grow with others. But when her entire world revolves around the relationship, you become her sole source of attention, support, and companionship. And that's heavy. No masculine value can thrive when you're someone's entire emotional foundation. Over time, what once felt like affection turns into constant demands, and what was once presence turns into suffocating pressure. Want to spot this in action? Pay attention. Does she always complain about her friends? Talk badly about everyone? Say, nobody's worth it? That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. And patterns repeat. When she wants to be with you all the time, it's not love, it's dependency. And dependency almost always walks hand in hand with destructive behaviors. Like, for example, betrayal. Especially if she's already shown you that red flag before. She's cheated, even with you. This is one of those signs many guys pretend not to see, but it speaks louder than any "I love you." If she's cheated before, especially if she cheated with you, the message is crystal clear, her loyalty is flexible. A woman who normalizes cheating as something from the past, or a mistake everyone makes, is revealing a serious character flaw. And a man with posture understands, Trust, once broken, can sometimes be rebuilt, but never without deep scars. You might try to justify it. She's changed. It was a tough time. It's different with me. But the truth is, your masculine value collapses the moment you accept being an exception where you should be the standard. When a woman cheats, she's shown that impulse matters more to her than commitment. And worse, if she cheated with you, the relationship is starting on a broken foundation. If it begins in deception, how can you expect it to end any differently? Real love requires mutual respect, and respect is non-negotiable. Want a clear example? Listen to how she talks about fidelity. Does she take cheating seriously, or call it no big deal? Does she speak with genuine remorse, or fake honesty laced with pride? If there are too many excuses, be careful. The same mind that once chose you from outside her last relationship might seek out someone else if the spark fades. And when that spark does fade, the truth will come out, but by then, it might be too late. That's why it's time to tie everything together. So tell me, now that you've seen these 10 signs clearly, how many of them have you ignored? How many did you see happening right in front of you, but you let them slide out of fear of being alone, or because you believed she'll change? The truth is this: a man who knows his value does not negotiate respect. He doesn't bend to chaos. He leads, with posture, with strength, and most of all, with clarity. If you've recognized any of these behaviors, maybe it's time to reevaluate who you're giving your energy to. And more importantly, are you staying true to your masculinity? Or are you giving in to patterns that drain you, diminish you, and force you into a role that isn't yours? Life is way too short to waste time trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. Your peace is worth more than the appearance of a perfect relationship. Now tell me in the comments, which of these signs stood out to you the most? Have you been through any of these situations? Let's talk. Your story could open another man's eyes too. And if you want to keep evolving, becoming stronger as a man, and learning how to protect yourself emotionally, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Here, we speak the truth, eye to eye, no sugarcoating.